A summer's day in Saint Petersburg. It's Putin's home turf and at the heart of Mother Russia. The calm is shattered, though, by Ukrainian drone strikes. They hit an oil terminal and a ship in dry dock. It's a shock and an embarrassment for a government that promised victory in days in a war now in its 5th year. So has the tide finally turned? Is Vladimir Putin staring defeat in the face? This war has always been a battle of production. During its first year, it was about who could manufacture the most artillery shells, as millions of them were fired at the front. But more recently, the key quantum has been drone building. These pilotless planes that hit St. Petersburg have a range of 1,600 kilometers. They're relatively slow flying and they don't have big warheads. But the FP5 or Flamingo, which has also been in action recently, has a 3,000 kilometer range, is jet powered and packs more than a ton of high explosive. And the rate of these deep strikes is increasing from 650 in 2025 to a projected 800 this year. The increase in production of these weapons is even more dramatic with the smaller ones, the first-person view or FPV drones used on front lines that rarely fly more than 30 kilometers. Last year, Ukraine made 5 million FPVs. This year, it'll be higher, similar numbers to Russia, which is aiming to produce 7 million of the drones.
Ukraine now has an advantage over Russia on the front lines. It's no longer as important that they are outnumbered 5-1 by the Russians. Right now, the Ukrainians are inflicting over 90% of the casualties on the Russians with unmanned systems.
Ukraine isn't just keeping pace production-wise. Since February, when the Starlink satellite system introduced new methods to stop Russia piggybacking on their system, Ukraine has had the exclusive use of it, which means an unjammable method of guidance and more accurate strikes, particularly at long range. We've heard great claims before, of course, for the Ukrainian drone industry. But the key thing now is that they've weathered the drastic reduction of direct American military assistance, and the work of the past couple of years in boosting the homemade production of long-range strike drones is bearing fruit. And even if Ukraine has hit many a Russian oil terminal before, the effects of its FPVs on or near the front line are now bringing new claims about the number of casualties being inflicted on the Russian army. During the past year, the Ukrainian military has worked to a formula that Russia can recruit between 30 and 35,000 troops each month. The aim of Ukrainian operations has therefore been to cause more than that number of casualties. And in this context, by casualties, we mean killed or permanently taken off the battlefield. In recent months, the Ukrainians say they have been achieving or exceeding this number, 35,000, and that their objective now is to put 50,000 Russians out of action each month. Again, exaggerated claims are hardly a new thing in this war, but there have also been some remarkable Western intelligence assessments of Russian losses across the 4 years of war. Numbers like that are mind-boggling, but are they right? Independent Russian media working with databases in that country estimates at least 350,000 killed. Either way, the implications can be seen in all sorts of ways. Ever higher wages needed to attract soldiers, big pension bills for the families of those killed in action, and growing labour shortages in the Russian economy. The idea that these huge losses are bringing closer a crunch point in recruiting, budget and production prompted a new analysis last month. It argued that the existing means in Russia of managing the war can no longer suffice, and Putin will have to use more coercion and conscription, or seek a ceasefire. Has Ukraine then found a path to victory in the bleeding of Russian armies and growing effectiveness of its deep strikes? Many have noticed the new confidence with which Volodymyr Zelensky has been talking up the chances of a settlement, and he recently sent an open letter to Putin suggesting a deal, a tactic designed to appeal direct to the Russian people.
Open letter, it means that he has to answer to us and what is important to his society, because his society lives in some fantastic world that they didn't attack, that it's not their aggressive war.
But if there's one thing we've learned about Putin's war, it's that enormous casualties aren't going to deflect him from his goals. By the same token, economic pressures have not brought the people onto the streets. And keen readers of Chekhov or Dostoevsky, with their descriptions of the historical passivity of the Russian people, should hardly be surprised if they don't choose to confront their leader now. For months, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and high oil price gave the Kremlin a band-aid, a financial boost at the very moment when the economy seemed in danger of running aground. But now peace with Iran could bring oil prices tumbling, increasing the risks for Putin, not least from a power elite that's tired of the war. Early in May, as muted celebrations for Victory Day were held, he suggested that the Ukraine war was coming to a close. As if to underline its failure, the Ukrainians agreed to cease fire on Parade Day, but hit Moscow soon afterwards. Further attacks on the capital and Saint Petersburg have underlined Ukraine's growing reach. Putin's seizure of Crimea 12 years ago gained him great popularity in Russia. But today, the region is experiencing dire shortages of fuel and supplies as Ukraine pounds the local economy. And the latest spectacular strikes on Moscow, the heart of the regime, now undermine Putin's authority too. Fearing an attempt to overthrow him, he's increasingly isolated, spending much of his time away from the capital. Growing restrictions on internet use and social media underline the sense of official nervousness. The question is now whether he opts to shut the war down and declare a victory before the elite in Moscow decide he has become the liability.